Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to the Masterclass with the one and only Harshit Raja. Hello, Harshit Bhai. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I was preparing a very interesting game, one that is very close to my heart. And do you want to share what game is it?
Yeah, I want to ask our audience here, who do you think is Harshit's opponent in this game that he's going to show you today? Hint is he's a
Strong player.
very well-known player now. But not back then, perhaps he was not as strong as he is now. So any guesses?
Maybe one of the strongest.
Sorry? Can you give him the mic? Bhai? Mic de sakte hain?
He's from India.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe in the chat. Arey,
One
guys,
person.
everyone is saying Magnus. But you are right, guys. It is Gukesh.
Yeah.
Harshit Raja versus the world champion Gukesh. But at that point, he was not the world champion.
At that point, okay, I'll just give you a little backstory. So this game was played in 2019. This was the 9th round. I was playing in the tournament El Llobregat Open in Barcelona. And I was very close to a Grandmaster norm, but I was not sure if I can make it. So I'm playing Gukesh. I come to the board, and the arbiter tells me that you can get a GM norm, but only if you win.
Arey, bhai, what pressure?
So now I was in a must-win situation, and I've never gotten a Grandmaster norm before.
Oh.
This was the first time
Wow.
that, I was so close to getting it. And my opponent obviously was the I think in 2019 he was 13 years old, maybe?
2019, he should be 30. This is, yeah, because he's 2006 born, so he was
13 years old.
13 years old.
And
13 years and a few months.
And his rating was around 2550, but it was rapidly increasing. Okay, so let's...
And you were 2450.
I was around 2450.
Okay, so guys, you have to be ready. We will have, like yesterday, a special prize for the one who does well here. And also back home, we have a lot of people who are joining in live. So you have to guess at critical moments. Harshit Bhai will ask you some questions. You have to guess the moves.
Exactly, and you can try to put yourself in my shoes, and you are pitted against the world champion. I mean, not back then, but current. So I started with e4. This is what I usually play. He played c5.
As he likes to play aggressive chess.
Knight f3, knight c6. And this is the move order that he always played back then. In 2019, 2020, he always opted for this e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6. So I played bishop b5. This is known as the Rosso-Limo variation.
Had you prepared against him?
Absolutely. I mean, this was the last round. And besides the Grandmaster norm, I was also fighting for the top 3 spots in the tournament.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it was quite a crucial round. g6. This is what I was expecting. d3. Bishop g7. And in this moment, black has a threat. Black has a very strong threat. Can you guys tell me what black's threat is?
Wow. So maybe if I play the move h3.
Exactly.
What should black play here?
This one is easy.
Think by think.
Queen a5 check. If I go knight c3. Exactly. So you give a check, attacking my bishop on b5. Very typical theme. If my knight protects it, the bishop chops off the defender, and then you lose the bishop on b5. And that's why I cannot allow this.
That's game over.
That's finito. That's why after bishop g7, white actually gives up his bishop on c6. I took bishop takes c6. And one might wonder, why am I voluntarily giving up my bishop pair? Here, black has 2 options. And generally, or at least what I had seen from the games of Gukesh, he always recaptured back with the d pawn.
Oh, he took generally like this.
He always took with the d pawn. And now what white wants to do is white plays h3. And he's saying that your bishop on c8, yes, you have a bishop. Will your bishop on c8 go? And usually how the game develops is black plays something like pawn to e5. White,
Sorry.
white quite often goes something like bishop e3, b6, defending the pawn on c5, and then knight c3. And white's idea is basically to go queen d2, castles, and knight h2, f4. These are some of the typical ideas that white can employ or deploy in this position, but he surprised me. He surprised me early when he captured back on c6 on move number 5 with the b pawn. And now I'm kind of in an unfamiliar territory. I'm like, wait a second, I spent my whole night preparing against d takes c6, and now Gukesh plays b takes c6. But you know, instead of being very anxious about this new development, I kind of thought that, okay, if he does not have any games in the database with b takes c6, that kind of means that my opponent himself does not have a lot of experience in this. So I castled, very, very logical move. Sorry, I'll just take some water.
He played the move d6. And now,
yeah.
First question, yes, Harshit
Exactly.
bhai. First question to all of you here. What should white play in this position? Also to everyone back home, क्या खेलोगे यहाँ पर? Remember guys, from the opening, it's important to be zoned in completely. So what move would you play here? Yes, maybe we can give him the mic.
Yeah.
Unko.
Maybe knight c3 or
Knight c3. Okay, interesting. There are a lot of people in the chat, Harshit bhai, who are saying h3, like you suggested, to stop the bishop from coming.
Your opponent played d6, right? What do you think black wants to play next?
bishop g4.
Bishop g4 is one. Second, he might even want to play pawn to e5, right? And then develop his knight to e7. And it kind of feels like black can also play f5, f4 at some point. I was a bit scared to allow black to get this e5, knight e7 setup. Knight c3 is a very, very natural and logical move. But I thought that I have to be a bit more direct here. The same goes with h3. It's very, very fine. He will play e5. Also, if I make a normal move, Gukesh for sure knows what plans he's going to play. Because he's played this move b takes c6. For sure, he spent at least a few hours studying this opening yesterday. And also, I don't know if you guys remember, it was a very similar structure where Fabiano Caruana was playing with the white pieces and Gukesh was playing with the black pieces at the FIDE Olympiad in Chennai. And this is exactly what he did. He created a very strong attack on the king side with this f5, f4 pawn storm.
The G5, G4 in that game, yeah?
Exactly.
It was very famous game. But in this position, Harshit bhai played this very, very cool move which many people have guessed online, E5.
Oh, wow. People guessed it. Exactly.
Yes.
And, okay, first of all, it might seem like, okay, what is this move?
Was it over the board inspiration for you or you were still in your prep?
You know, for some reason, I thought that I have seen this idea of E5 somewhere mentioned by Alexei Shirov. Shirov, for the ones who don't know, has a very famous book, Fire on the Board, and he loves playing dynamic chess. And I think I have seen a game or some annotation by him where he mentioned this move pawn to E5, which also kind of just tells you that no knowledge ever goes to waste in chess. You know, people playing in this World Cup, for 20 days, they prepare so many openings. Usme se hardly ek opening board pe hota hai. But that preparation can be used for later tournaments. So I played E5. Okay, two ways for black to recapture, right? One is with the pawn, the other is with the bishop. With the bishop, I think it's very easy to understand that it's bad because you take with the knight. And now the dark squared weaknesses. G7 ka square itna weak hai. C5 pawn is weak. E5 pawn is also weak. And I would probably just play something like queen E2 followed by bishop E3 and it feels, or knight A3 first. and white has a very, very good position. So so Gukesh captured back with the d pawn. Very logical. And I developed my rook e1. Now I'm threatening to capture back with the e5 pawn, and I'm provoking him to play f6. I want him to play f6 and say that my bishop on g7 is going to be passive for a long time. And here, if you think about it, black can never play f5 because the e5 pawn will be like under pressure. And it's not very easy for black to coordinate his pieces. My idea is very simple here. Knight a3, bishop e3, and the c5 pawn at some point is going to fall, and I will play a strategic game against the bishop on g7. So Gukesh, true to his very dynamic style, tried to solve problems concretely with this move pawn to c4.
And maybe Gukesh here wanted you to take the pawn, yes?
Absolutely. He wants me to take the pawn on c4 because if I take the pawn on c4, he will happily exchange the queens, and after rook d1, either play bishop g4 or play e4, and black has a fantastic position because my pieces are completely underdeveloped. He has a bishop pair. The whole point of e5 was to restrict the bishop on g7, and isme to khul gaya. So I was like, okay, there's no way I can allow Gukesh to open up his bishop. So after c4, I took the pawn on e5.
And now Gukesh took the pawn on d3. And maybe, Harshit bhai, it's a good time to ask again for the second question here, guys. What should white play in this position? Go for it. Try to think a bit. Try to think a little bit. Would you take the pawn back? Would you do something else? You're ready? Okay.
Queen f3.
Queen to f3 with a double attack on the pawn on f7, and wow. So Harshit bhai, interesting move.
Queen f3 is very, very tempting. And if it works, it's obviously just winning for white. But black has something. What's the way with which black can protect both f7 and c6? There's only one square which can protect both f7 and c6. Yes?
Maybe we can give him, yeah.
Queen f3, queen d5. And
very good, exactly. If queen f3, black has this defensive resource, queen d5, and now it protects both. Again, white does not want to exchange the queens. Unless I get something very concrete. So that's why queen f3 is not the best.
So here, people in the chat, many of them are saying knight takes c6. Some are saying knight takes d3.
So if knight c6, the problem is black plays queen d6.
And the knight on c6 is a bit misplaced, yes?
Yeah.
And then, black has the bishop pair and
actually
is very happy.
C7 is also very dangerous because then the c2 pawn is going to be under attack whenever the knight moves. So I cannot really take the pawn on c6. So you know what I did? In the opening, when you sacrifice, you are playing for initiative. When does attack work successfully in your favor? When all of your pieces are centralized or developed. So I just developed my knight to c3.
This is such a tough move, Harshit bhai, because, when you can capture back the pawn, even like, this way, you still are going for knight c3. How do you judge such a decision?
Well, I kind of understood that I have to play against the black king. And also, I realized that after knight c3, what will black play? You cannot take my pawn on c2, of course, because then I have queen d8 and knight f7, forky. If you play knight f6 here, then
Knight c6 attacks e7 as well. The queen.
Guess what? That's what Gukesh played. Knight to f6.
What? No way.
So now my question for everyone. Gukesh just played knight to f6. For sure he has seen something. So will you capture the pawn on c6 or not?
Oh, tough question. I'm actually very tempted, yeah? Free pawn on c6, e7. a lot of people, when you said you have to take the initiative, wanted to sacrifice the knight on f7. But guys, थोड़ा इतना भी initiative नहीं लेना है कि you are piece down. You have to use it carefully. So what do you do now here?
Bishop g5 is one suggestion.
Bishop g5.
So you
Okay.
won't take the pawn.
Why are you not taking the pawn, Karthik bhai? Take it. वो कैसल कर लेगा ना or not? नहीं, maybe then you want to take. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, bishop g5 is interesting. But obviously, the first and most important question that I have to answer is why does knight c6 not work? Because if it works, I'm just winning. So I think we need to always start calculating forcing moves. So unless you see a refutation for knight c6, I don't think you should look for like second or third alternatives.
Okay, so
So let's calculate.
So
Knight takes c6. That's the question.
I
And
mean,
now,
if I go queen c7, queen d7, you'll just take with check and lose the queen.
and that's finito. So he goes queen d6. That was his idea.
What an idea, by the way.
And of course, I'm making the moves on the board right now. But for me, I have to calculate all of this before I take the pawn on c6. So now, obviously, I cannot go with my knight on a5 because if that's what I have to play, then it's clear something went wrong. Yeah, knight g4 and even black can start mating me. So if rook takes e7 check, black will play king f8. Now my knight on c6 is hanging. It feels like, okay, I gave a check on e7. It must be winning for white. But in reality, this is just losing because queen f3, defending the knight. And how does black win the game? Bishop b7. Arey guys, utho. Rook hai e7 pe.
This
Bishop
rook
b7, rook takes b7 na. So bishop g4, exactly. Same idea, you guys were right, but bishop g4. Now
And the queen
is
can't
attacked,
protect the knight.
and this is just winning for black.
So if you take here, I can take this.
Yeah,
And then piece up.
piece up, finito.
It's clearly winning. So rook e7, king f8 runs into this hanging, you can't hold both. So he must think about knight takes pawn.
Exactly. And if I take knight takes pawn, again Gukesh had something sneaky prepared.
Black to play, guys. You want? Yes.
P6 knight's trapped.
Very good.
Oh, bhai.
Bishop
well
e6,
done.
and the knight is trapped because after queen f3, he can actually capture the knight on e7 with the king. And the rook on h8 protects the rook on a8.
And a check is met with by
Just queen retreat.
queen d7. Yeah. Okay.
So I cannot take the pawn on e7 as well.
So when you took this pawn on c6, you knew that you cannot take on e7, yet you took it.
Yes. Yes?
Does white have anything after bishop f4 with some tempo?
So after knight e7,
Bishop
bishop e6, queen f3,
king into e7,
king e7, and bishop f4.
Is there something for white?
The
Nice.
question is, the question is whether white has something immediate.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, let's say queen d7,
But black will take about 1 or 2 moves to consolidate the position with rook d8 or something.
exactly.
And in that time, can white do something or is it just completely lost?
I don't think it's lost, but I think that white does not have enough compensation to justify sacrificing a piece. And also, I would not voluntarily go in this position. Voluntarily in the sense, I would not like go in this position by my own accord because I feel like there should be something stronger. So let's go back after knight c6, queen d6. Here, the other way of defending the knight on c6 is queen f3. But obviously, whenever you see queen f3, you see bishop b7 and you basically stop.
But you did not stop.
I mean, in my calculation, I was like, okay, queen f3, bishop b7, and this is his point. Because rook e7, he takes, queen takes e7.
Can we ask our viewers what to play here as white?
Yeah, just rook e7 does not work.
Take here.
Queen takes.
Khatam.
And now, after bishop b7 is a very important question. What did I had foreseen?
Because he's losing a piece, guys.
Knight b5,
I'm
interesting.
tempted with that move.
It's tempting.
So
If
knight,
knight
to
b5, let's say I play queen takes c6. So I got one piece. If you take on c6, knight c7 check, king moves. Now, after I take back with the rook, I have two pieces and a bishop pair. Also, by the way, also a bishop pair. This must be good for black. Generally, once you trade the queens, two pieces perform quite well, especially if it's a bishop-knight combo. And here, I think black is just doing fantastically well. So, knight b5, not really doing it for white.
Yes.
If you play bishop b7, there should be knight into e7, bishop into f3, knight f5 check, getting the queen back.
Very nice.
How strong are you?
I mean, FIDE, I'm about 1650.
Wow. You are on fire. Knight
takes-
e7.
Exactly. Sacrificing my queen on f3. And after bishop f3, I have this very important knight f5 check. Important that I go to f5 and not c8, guys. Because after knight c8, black has queen e6. And what's the difference? If you come back, when I have knight to f5 check, queen e6, I have knight takes g7 check. And I
Nice.
pick up the queen on e6.
क्या बात है?
So after knight f5 check, king d7, knight takes queen. So we reached this position. And my calculation was that he will play king d6. I will play gf3.
Or check first or not?
Let's say gf, dc2, and now check. So same story. And white is doing really well because I will play rook c1 next and pick up the pawn.
And you will be a pawn up.
Exactly. So now let's go back to the position when my opponent played knight f6, move number 10. So it was in this position that I had to understand and evaluate what's happening after we, from this position we reach an endgame basically. And this is where calculation is so much important in chess. Everyone prepares openings. Everyone does this. But calculation and visualization, what Gukesh, Arjun now are probably some of the best two of the best players, Prague as well, of course, who are doing this, just calculating the whole, variation until the end. So here, after we reach this position, check and takes, Gukesh completely baffled me. And already back then, he kind of showed sign of genius when he played this move. He played this completely unbelievable move. I think it's too tough to even understand or ask. Is knight d5.
When he played this, you were shocked, yeah?
Yeah, I was like, what? I was like, what is this? His bishop on f3 is hanging. Pawn on f7 is hanging. He did not capture a free knight on d6.
Wow. He's saying basically, if you take my piece, I will take perhaps here.
Exactly.
And if you take here, I will save my piece. So very like a anti-intuitive move, yeah?
Yeah, and this just kind of shows that he always thinks outside the box, yeah? And this was in 2019, 5 years before he became the world champion. And already, for such a young player to play a move like knight d5 and not immediately play king takes d6 shows a lot of class. Mm-hmm. So knight d5, I was so confused. I was like, I don't know what to do now because objectively white is much better, but it was not easy to find the best move. So I played gf3. Okay, I should take his bishop, of course. Knight takes c3. This was his idea. And the point is that bc3, he captures back with the bishop, and both my rooks on e1 and a1 are hanging. So that's bad news. So after knight c3, white had a win. It was quite difficult with knight takes f7.
But it's logical, yeah? I'm
This is
sure you
logical.
must have thought
I
about
saw
it.
knight f7, and then I saw rook f8. And after bc3, bishop takes c3, I left my calculation here, thinking that my knight on f7 is hanging and both rooks are hanging. I stopped my calculation here, but here white can play knight e5 check. Very, very complex. Wherever the king moves, let's say
King
c7, I will play knight d3.
Wow.
If you capture my rook on e1, I'm very happy. I get 2 pieces. But if you capture my rook on a1, what does white have? Yeah, easy. Exactly. Bishop f4 check.
Or even bishop a3 could work, yeah? Maybe.
Yeah, but just check very, very, just making sure I get the piece.
And you're 2 pawns up.
Exactly, and white is close to winning. So this was how I could have
we
won
have
the game.
moved to-
If king c8, knight d3, bishop takes the rook, and now your idea
Bishop A3.
of bishop a3 or even bishop h6 to be more clinical, not allowing bishop g7. And white has a massive, if not winning, advantage. But of course, this is this was easier for me to comprehend once I came back home and checked with the engine. During the game, I found something very interesting. I played knight c4. He played knight e2 check, king f1, and knight d4.
And now he could take the bishop here, but that would not be great. He went back.
And you see how he kind of maneuvered his knight from c3 to d4, and now there is no way I can stop knight c2 or dc2, one of the 2 moves.
So maybe white should think, here what to do.
White to play. Can you find an interesting way for white to continue?
Something where you have to now challenge Gukesh. He's been constantly challenging you.
And this is a very complex game, guys. I wish I could take longer, but of course we are also trying to.
Yeah, we have to make sure that we are in time for the semi-finals tie break. And we have more than 500 people online, guys. Think, what do you do here?
Maybe rook d1. So even if he takes knight c2, then we can recapture d3 with check.
Interesting. Rook d1 is very interesting. However, I was scared that I don't want to allow this pawn on c2. Like d takes c2, and
It's already a passer.
it's like 1 square away from queening, and my rook on a1 and bishop on c1 are still not developed. So I thought that after knight d4, somehow I need to get my pieces in the game.
And what did you play here?
And
Because I, for the first time, see no one has found this move, which is very.
maybe.
What? Bishop? Man.
Bishop g5 is what I played, exactly. But besides bishop g5 being a tricky move, you have to understand what to do after f6. Because if you don't know what to do after f6, then bishop g5 kind of, defeats the
Because
purpose.
if he takes here, you have rook e7.
Exactly.
Correct? That's your
exactly.
plan.
That's the point.
But if he plays f6 now, what do you do with white? Your bishop is hanging and knight c2 is coming.
Maybe you could go for rook a d1 because if you wait, sir, you go for first rook.
Think before saying. It's okay. Think what you would do. Harshit Bhai, we all know, loves to sacrifice pieces, yeah?
And the whole concept of this game is initiative.
By the way, you were almost there.
Oh, one person found it.
Leela Kalambarkar, and also he said
Yeah,
the
he
same
found
move.
it. You're right.
But he was rook a d1 was played by Harshit Bhai, but of course the right move, like you have to think after fg rook d3, what's happening, because black is a piece up.
Exactly. So I basically thought that if I get to this position, I have 2 pawns for a piece. My rooks are both perfectly placed. His king is in the middle. Rooks bilkul bhi active nahi hai. So I thought I should, and I'm threatening c3 of course. That's a huge threat
To win back the piece.
to win the piece. So I thought this is great compensation. He played king c6, and I have to win the game, by the way, guys. I have to try to win the game to get my GM norm. He goes king c6, and now where do the rooks belong?
White to play, guys. Come on.
Exactly.
Rook-
The rooks belong on the 7th rank. Rook to e7.
Boom, bam.
Boom.
Now this is hanging, and if this hangs, this piece is also defended by the bishop.
So he goes bishop f6. I go rook f7, attacking the bishop on f6. Rook h f8.
Gukesh was like,
I take the
Harshit
pawn
by draw.
and rook h8 back. So I came back rook f7, and he came back rook to f8.
How tempted were you to take a draw at this
But
point?
guys, there is a difference. After rook h7, rook h8, it's not a repetition because a pawn on h7 is missing. So, if I go back rook f7 here, after rook h7, rook h8,
So here is first time, but if you do it like,
I could still play rook f7 because the pawn on h7 is missing.
right.
So, of course, I cannot make a draw, guys. I have to keep playing. I know that objectively it might be equal, but I have to try and take some risk. And also at this point, we were both in severe Zeitnot, like in time pressure. We had like a few minutes each, and we were just trying to understand like how to proceed. So I played knight a5 check. Just trying to, confuse my opponent.
This
And-
must be very stressful because now you can even lose, right?
I can lose. And one of the things that I missed was that he could play king b5, and what Gukesh missed as well. Because if he played this, he's actually much better. Because I thought I have rook b7 check. But now,
If king takes a5, you must have...
I
Guys,
would have been
white
boom.
to play. You know it. Maybe you want to try? Do you want to try? White to play.
rook a3.
Rook a3,
Exactly.
very good. Checkmate.
Mate, yeah. But he can play king to a6. And this is actually quite good for black because the king is taking shelter from my piece, the knight on a5.
And the knight can never move because rook
the
hangs.
rook is hanging. And if the rook moves, it won't be checkmate.
Then you take the knight.
So that's why king b5 was actually giving Gukesh an advantage. But I had to risk. I have to win the game to get my norm. So, and also it's not so easy to see this in time pressure. He played king b6, knight c4 check. And now Gukesh did not want a draw.
He felt bad that Harshit is not accepting draw. Now I should beat him.
So he played king to b5. And this was a mistake.
Guys, now is the key move of the entire game. GM norm is at stake for Harshit bhai. White to play. What will you do here? क्या खेलोगे? Very key moment. You guys have just entered. You have to guess white to move.
They're like, अब भी आए थे आराम से बैठने.
In the chat, people are saying this is Raja immortal.
Yeah, this was I'm very fond of this game.
Guys, if you play check with your rook here, then he'll take the knight. There is
Yeah.
no mate. So you need to somehow kind of hunt this king, right?
Box the king. You somehow need to box the black's king.
Very tough move.
Oh, one person found it. Praneeth Bhatia. Very
क्या
good.
बात है? Karthik Patil as well. Well done, guys. Too good.
Exactly. The move is rook to c7. Now the king on b5 cannot go back to b6. And it's in some sort of a box there. Like it only has these few squares that it can go to. And also rook c8 not possible anymore, of course, because of forky. Knight d6 check. That would be bad. So after rook c7, he cannot really challenge my control.
But
of
Gukesh was like, I'll take your
Yeah, he
pawn,
took my pawn.
and mate you, because my idea is rook h8, check,
And exactly.
and your king can't come out. So he's going for mate on you.
But now, there is an only move for white.
Okay, this one, guys, you have to find. Someone has to answer, नहीं तो हम आगे नहीं बढ़ेंगे और आज we won't stream World Cup. You have to find. क्या खेलोगे? White to play. Go for it. Someone has to guess it.
Rook a3.
Oh, rook a3. He wants to go rook a5 and checkmate you with king before a3. Not a bad idea. It's a very cool one, yeah? Maybe a5, no?
Exactly. Black will play a5
Rook
and stop.
but it's a great,
Rook a3 is a nice idea.
nice instinct to mate. Yes, bhai.
a4?
Man, well
What
done.
if I take the pawn? What's the idea?
If I...
Rook?
Mate karo now. Don't slow down. Go for the kill. Go for the kill.
Exactly. Now rook a3 check and your idea works. But a4, very nice spot. Sacrificing a pawn because I want to give checks and get this. And now c3 check and the black king is almost checkmated. I also get my piece back. So the material is equal. I'm actually a pawn up and his king is almost checkmated. So white is completely winning. But very important to start with checks in such a position where the price of a move is very high. So I don't mind giving up my pawn. So he goes king a6. I play rook f7. Just forcing the bishop to go back to h8. And now after bishop h8,
By the way, just to think, there is no mate on you, right? With rook.
oh,
check.
check hai aur d4 bhi mar raha hai.
Check and then take this knight and the king comes out. Right. Okay. So he went back.
And I thought that this is amazing for me. His bishop is on h8. The rook can never come there. But I cannot relax. How do I... Actually, maybe I will show the next move.
No, Harshit bhai.
Okay,
Let
okay.
them think. Let them think. Key move. Guys, go for it. White to play.
Exactly.
What?
He found it.
Who? Arre
Karthik
bhai,
bhai.
crazy. Wait, actually, I can't hear through this ear right now. Some water has gone. So, B4. It's a mate or what?
I'm creating some sort of I'm creating a mating pattern here. So let's see if people can find it because he played rook h4 and put yourself in the white shoes here and finish off Gukesh. It's white to play. Wow.
Rook takes. D4, same answer? Yes.
If I take back? Exactly. And here, after rook takes d4, Gukesh resigned because after he takes b5 would have been a checkmate, and that's how I got my Grandmaster norm. So
Did you also had like how was your reaction at that point after?
it was such a tense game, you know, like I was just calculating moves throughout the game. So, I mean, and you know, even if this game did not go in my favor, I would have still enjoyed it because, you know, when you calculate this much and, you know, some variations are so exciting, this is what chess players love, you know, to play an interesting game. Of course, winning or losing matters, but playing an interesting game obviously has a lot of, you know, merit to it. And also, something I would like to add is that after this win, I played Arjun in tie breaks for the second and third place, or third and fourth place, and he beat me 2-0. But it was very nice that I could play Gukesh in the final round here and then play Arjun in the blitz tie breaks. I think 3-2 or something like this. And yeah, this was what I wanted to show because I feel in this game we kind of understood how to play with initiative, how to respond when your opponent surprises you early in the opening, and when to think, when to basically catch your opponent's bluff, and when to keep it simple and, for example, just develop your pieces.
It's an amazing game, and I think, did you guys enjoy? Maybe we can have a round of applause for Harshit Bhai, because not only did he beat Gukesh and get a GM norm, but also the way you taught this, the importance of initiative, not giving up the move to your opponent was so good. And today, Harshit Bhai, we have, for the winner, we are going to give Gukesh's course on attack like a super GM. So, you know,
You learn from someone much better than me.
so we are going to give it to this boy here. What is your name? Shivam. Shivam gets it, Harshit Bhai.
I think it's
He came
deserved,
up
yeah.
with very good answers. Shivam, well done. We will take your email address and then give it to you so you can watch it. Okay? And I hope that you enjoyed this, and also the people back home. We will now end this stream and get ready for the semi-final. Yes, you have a question?
Yes, classical.
It was a classical game that Harshit Bhai played, and we will be back very soon with the live stream on the semi-finals. So thank you all,
Thank you for joining.
and see you soon.
Bye.